Hey, so my wife is really awesome at buying gifts. When we started dating, she said to me, look, your birthday's coming up and I want to buy you a welder. Maybe we can talk about what sort of welder to get. And I was like, I didn't even know I wanted a welder, but as soon as she said that, I really wanted a welder. We ended up getting a welder at Harbor Freight, just a cheap one. I didn't know if I'd like the hobby, and now I've spent a bunch of money on welding and I really enjoy it, and it's a huge hobby that she's opened up for me just with that suggestion of a gift. And this year around, I got a new camera before my birthday, and my wife surprised me and bought a bunch of camera gear from the same company that makes the camera, including this Thunderbolt to HDMI in and out adapter that allows me to do stuff. But it also had this component in and out, and I'd never played with component in HD before. I didn't even know if it would work. And I plugged it into my TV and I saw 1080p video coming out. And so it was this birthday gift that made me want to build sort of this synth thing in HD, and that's what I've got going on here. And that sort of brings me to the update of the synth. Here is the custom case that I made for it. It's in pieces because I had an issue, but it also went together like this and it was coming together really nicely. I was close to getting it all done. I ran into one challenge though, which was my power supply. I was using the Maxim 1044 chip, I think, to generate my -5 volts rail, and it was sort of capping out at the amount of power it could put out. So I just bodged together a power lead that I hooked up to my benchtop power supply. And I had it all done to a point whereby I really wanted to give it a good test and make some work with it. And I went to move it off my bench. I'd unplugged everything, and this lead, the ground wire, brushed up against a power outlet, and luckily it didn't fry anything in here, but a cable going to this guy was resting against the case, which was grounded, and it blew the component out at this guy. So I was really, really upset because this is something my wife got me, and it really inspired me to do the entire project. And so I was kind of at a loss. How do I get component video into this thing so I could do the work that I wanted to do? And I'd been playing with this problem for a while and just going to Amazon, and there's hundreds of these devices which are HDMI to component, component to HDMI. I was hoping to be able to feed video back into this. And these guys are all like 20 bucks, 30 bucks. There's hundreds of vendors selling identical things with slightly different labels on them. Some of them which are identical to this, they sell for hundreds of dollars, which is just a scam. I bought these guys, they're junk. The video quality sucks. They don't live up to the specs that they post on Amazon. But the loss of this guy inspired me to do some further digging. And another thing my wife bought me was an SDI to Thunderbolt input. And I'm like, I don't even have any SDI gear. It's got HDMI in as well, but this guy has HDMI in. But this inspired me. I started searching for component to SDI and vice versa adapters, figuring that it would give me more professional gear, and it did. And so some of that's coming. So I'll be able to sort of bypass the component outs on this that are broken by doing HDMI out, which still works, and going from that to component into this. And then I'll be able to do better captures of the output using component to SDI. So the reason why this got so messy, and I sort of mentioned this in one of my first videos on this series, is that I like prototyping on these proto boards and doing lots of hookup wire. And it's sort of a great way to prototype because your pace of implementation is sort of slowed down by your ability to hook wires up. It forces you to think about what you want to do. And if you sort of don't have the full design worked out, you can do a little test on breadboards and then import them into this. But it gets really messy real fast, and mistakes like this happen. It just became too much of a pain to think about making another power supply section. I hooked it up and just did it in a janky way, and it didn't work out. So I finally bit the bullet, and I've put together a PCB for at least half of this for sort of the power supply, the sync separation, some of the preamplification, and some of the color stuff that I know is going to be pretty fixed in stone. It's been a long time since I've manufactured a PCB. I used to use this software that only ran in DOS, and it could only let you draw out the PCB, didn't let you do the schematic. Forgot what it's called. Then I used to use Eagle, but that was acquired by Autodesk, and it became expensive to do that. And someone on Twitter recommended Easy EDA. I'd played a little bit around with KiCad, but I just couldn't get around the UX. And this Easy EDA thing online has been fantastic, and it's so tempting and so easy to hit the order from JLPCB button that I've gone and done that. I've also forked out for the assembly of a bunch of the SMT components because I think there's like not 100, but maybe 50 caps on this thing. And I just don't want to be doing that by hand. Some of the other components isn't stocked or aren't stocked by GL PCBs, some of the high-speed op amps and the PIC chips that I like to use. So I'll do those by hand. But there's going to be a delay in this project as I'm waiting for some PCBs to be ordered. But I thought if there's any excuse to make a video about how awesome my wife is and how she inspired this, I thought, yeah, why not? Let's do that. So that's my update. That's where I'm at. I'll probably be back with an update in a couple of weeks. Until then, keep well. See you next time. Bye.